Hey guys, Paris Shay here. Welcome back to my channel. So today I'm coming with a let's talk about it, but we are talking about going into the 22-23 school year. So for all my first year teachers or teachers that just need a little words of encouragement or however you want to put it, this video is for you guys. So let's jump into some ways to prepare for the school year. I go back to school in a week. So I've talked about it before. So at my campus, we have roles that are called grade level administrators. We have one for each grade level. So I'm over 9th grade. And we have one for 10th, 11th, and 12th. So we are grade level administrators, and we have to report back at, I believe it's 2 weeks earlier than other teachers. But I am making this video because I'm about to report back to work. So I just want to give you some tips on preparing for this upcoming school year. Things that I've learned teaching over the years is that I have recently learned this past year going through this last school year of advocating for yourself. So I'm the type of teacher, I show up, I do what I'm asked, I try to go with the flow as much as possible because I understand that whether you have a career or a job, you can't call all the shots. You don't call any of the shots, honestly. You pretty much just have to fall in line with what is being asked. And if you don't like what's being asked, then, you can go somewhere else or you can advocate for yourself. So I have learned this past year to advocate. This past year has been the most that I think I've advocated and spoke up for myself, just because this school year was really different, you guys. I don't know how it was for everyone else. Well, most teachers that I've talked to or know, we all have the same thing. It was rough. Coming back off of the pandemic, the kids haven't been in real classroom settings in a while. Most kids have not. So I had to learn to really advocate for myself this year and speak up, because what I learned is, even being a grade level administrator, because I do have a team that I'm in charge of, a lot of things I wouldn't know what was going on or what people were thinking unless they spoke up. So you have to understand that no one can read anybody's mind. And you may think that people are supposed to understand maybe your frustration or things that's going on, but they don't. So you have to speak up for yourself, and you have to advocate for yourself on things that may seem like unfair or unrealistic, or, certain demands that's just like, can we talk about this? Because this just doesn't seem right. And when you have those kind of conversations, you learn that it becomes an open conversation of, oh, I didn't know you felt like that, or here's a solution to this, or here's how you can work through this. So in teaching, you really have to learn to advocate for yourself, and speak up for yourself, because no one's going to advocate for you the way you are. Like, you have to speak up for yourself. And this is so important, because a lot of times, in jobs and careers, we just go with the flow. And there's nothing wrong with that, but if it's something that's really pressing and daunting you, then you really do have to speak up and get down to the bottom of it, because there could be solutions for things that you may have on your mind or have on your chest, and now you're harboring it and you're walking around angry or mad or upset, versus getting it off your chest and talking it out and figuring out what the problem is and solutions. Next thing I would say is make time for yourself. So in education, we give so much to teaching and so much to our students, but we have to learn that we need time for ourselves. Don't feel bad for taking a day off, y'all. Like, I don't, because my mental health comes first. Like, if I'm going into work and I can't, if I'm going into work and I can't show up for myself, how do you expect me to show up for my students? Like, it just doesn't function that way. So You have to make sure that you are taking time out for yourself. If you need those breaks, take those breaks and don't feel bad about them. If you need to set boundaries and limits for your work life and your home life, I am very good at that. At least for the most part, because a lot of my students do have my number and my cheerleaders have my number, so it's constantly going off, but I do like being an available resource to them. But that's a boundary that I set for myself. Not everyone is like that, but whatever boundaries you need to set for your home and your work life, then that's what you need to do. Because my first year teaching, y'all, oh my gosh, like I was like, what did I get myself into? There is no, your first year is your most stressful year. And just to be honest, I couldn't imagine. I mean, really, kudos to all the first year teachers this past year, because it was stressful for what we consider veterans or teachers who've been teaching for a second year, third year. It was rough on us. I can't imagine being a first year teacher last year. Like, if you're coming back, I mean, seriously, kudos to you, because it was complex. But my first year teaching, I was just like, what did I get myself into? Like, I was bringing home stacks of papers, like grading. My husband was sitting here helping me grade. He was like, okay, we got to figure out something to this, because it was madness. But after that first year, y'all, I got it down. Like, I do not bring work home. I finish what I need to do at school. That's the boundary I set. Whatever I need to finish, I will stay at school until it's done, and then I will come home. But I try my best not to bring work home as much as possible. The next thing going into the school year would be setting the tone. I know we hear that probably every teacher video that you've watched is setting the tone for your students on the first day. So the way that I set the tone is, of course, you give your classroom rules, your expectations, all that good stuff. But I have a teacher, his name is Turner, and his saying is connect before you correct, which is the greatest saying, because you do have to make a connection with the kids from day one. You have to get to know your students. You have to get to build relationships. You're not going to build them exactly on the first day, but you can kind of, make them comfortable, set your boundaries, set your tones. For me, a non-negotiable in my classroom is disrespect. Like, I can tolerate a lot. And if you ask any of my students, I can tolerate a lot. I just do not tolerate disrespect. And that is how I set the tone in my classroom. I have a very open door. I have very strong relationships with my students. Not everyone is like that, but I do, because I believe in getting to know them. I believe in personal relationships make for better classrooms and a classroom environment. But you still have to set your boundaries. But that's how I set the tone. And whoever makes you comfortable, that's what you need to do. But you need to make sure that you are, you stick to it. And I will say that, sorry, I was playing. I will say over the course of the school year, you may become lax in some areas, but you can always pick it back up, because the kids are going to test you around breaks, like when breaks are coming up, or when they get comfortable. It's always when they get comfortable, but you have to stand your ground and keep your boundaries up. And don't forget to be relatable. Like, you can't be, you can be whatever you want to be, but I try to be such a relatable person. So for instance, understand that the kids are human, and they understand that I'm human. Because, some days I come in on an off day and they can tell. And they'll be like, what's wrong with you? What's going on with you? And I'm like, nothing. And I may just be having not the best day. And they'll take it easy on me that day. And Same thing for them. Like if they come in and they're having a bad day, or it's a kid that's always upbeat and I could tell that something's going on with them and they may just need a little me time, give it to them. Like that's the way I function in my classroom. Now, of course, everyone functions differently, but that's why I said you got to set the tone for how you want it to be. So going back to that really fast is, as an adult, you have to understand that you're dealing with, so I have high school, whether you have preschool, 6th grade, 10th grade, 12th grade. As a teacher, you have to know that you cannot come to school with your personal adult problems on your shoulder. Now, I say that because you are going to have, not every day is going to be rainbows and sprinkles and lollipops, because you are in education, and sometimes that can just be, you'll walk through the door and it's like you have 10 different things going on. So you are entitled to have a day, but you can't walk in like with your personal outdoor emotions on your sleeve. You have to come in as positive as possible, because what I have learned is that the kids also feed off of our energy. So it's a lot of situations where kids are having bad days because a teacher's having a bad day. So it put them in a bad space. Then that trickles down to another student, then to another teacher. So if you can try to come in as positive as possible and be a light in their lives and be someone that they want to see every day, then that makes the day even better. Now, keep in mind, all of this is just me really just talking, just telling you my experience, the way that I function. But teaching is something that is very individual. So we get our guidelines on what we need to teach, when it should be taught. Because I'm in Texas, so we have a star for biology. But one thing that I have also had to learn is that you have to find your style of teaching. You can take pieces from other people and take what you like. You may like something that another teacher does, or you may like what this person does, but you have to stick to your style and what makes you comfortable, because that's the only way you're going to be the best kind of teacher that you can be. Every teacher has a different teaching style, and no one is going to mirror anyone the exact same, and that's okay. So do what works for you in the classroom, honestly, because you have to show up in there, and you have to be able to understand and teach and, do it the way that makes sense to you, as long as you're going with the curriculum of what you should be teaching and stuff like that. But, it's your classroom. And I guess most importantly, just do the best you can. I mean, show up and do the best you can. There are wrong things that you can't do. I'm not saying there's no right or wrong way, because there is. But if you show up and you do the best you can, you speak up when you need help, you utilize resources that's available to you. That includes teachers, that includes administration. And honestly, y'all, I have my classroom the way that I want, but I will sometimes take student feedback. So sometimes my projects are a little lengthy, and sometimes assignments I give can be a little lengthy, according to my students. But if they come to me and they say, hey, can we do this instead of this? I'm open to hear their concerns and their issues, because I do understand that I'm not their only teacher and I'm not their only class. So sometimes kids will have good ideas, like for real. They'll come to you with good things. Don't shut them out. Hear them out, because some things that they come up with, you're like, okay, I didn't think of that. And they have ways to utilize technology, in ways that maybe you may not have thought of. So it's always okay to listen to your students too. Now, sometimes they just come with some stuff just like, you just don't want to work. And that's like, no, that ain't gonna fly. But sometimes they will come with solutions and you're like, I like that one. So I do listen to my students, and that's okay. You can listen to your students too, because sometimes they'll read you your rights, and as long as it's respectful. Like, I'm not saying have a student come up to you and like cuss you out. Now, I ain't going for that. But I'm saying they'll tell you like, you're tripping with this one. And sometimes I'll have to take a step back and be like, all right, I am tripping a little bit. So it's okay to listen to your students, as long as it's coming from a place of like really like, hey, concern and solutions and not disrespectful. Okay. Like I said, take time out for yourself. Take time out to get your mental right. We are going back into another school year. I don't know how the summer got by me so fast. Like I said, I go back next week. I am not prepared, but you know, the human body will do what it needs to do. So this is just really just like words of encouragement to the next teacher. Y'all know, just a conversation starter. Let me know how y'all deal with stuff in the classroom. And more importantly, just showing up and doing the best you can, y'all. So, welcome to the 22-23 school year, y'all. And I thank you guys so much for tuning in. And I will see you guys in the next video.